Hello, everyone, and welcome to our panel discussion today. And I have joining me Linda Baker, Susan Jarboe, and Reverend Linda Burdett. And I'm Kathy Cronin, and I will be leading the topic of discussion. So before we do that, I want us to take a moment to get centered, to be able to put the pressures of the day behind and just have a few moments to commune with Spirit and to feel open and present in this moment. So take this time, take a deep breath, close your eyes, just relax, feel your muscles loosening up, feel the stress around you going away. You're being lifted into this higher plane of consciousness that together we are being enlightened by the Holy Spirit to share thoughts and wisdom, and that you have come to join us to hear this message, to be present in this moment, and to know that God is within each and every one of us, showing us the way. And whether you refer to him as God, the universe, or divine power or wisdom, we know the Spirit exists within every one of our souls and our hearts and our minds. And we thank you, God, for bringing us together, for giving us this opportunity to share your wisdom, to share the goodness and the love and the compassion that we have to bring forth into this world to others around us. Amen. So my topic of today is from the Unity Booklet. It's called, if you can see it, oops, well, I'm probably blanking it out, but it's Creating Community as We Age. And so this whole booklet has a lot of different articles about the aging process. And the one I picked out was about church, a ready-made community. And it was written by Reverend John Beerman, who's a retired minister in Florida. And he brought this article into this booklet because it's so appropriate as to what church means for people. And as we age and how important it is to have that community. So I'm going to share some of the thoughts from his article. So participation in a church can meet our social and community needs, especially as we age. Think about changing the paradigm of church. Shift your thinking from church as a place to meet your worship needs to one that meets your social needs as well. As we age, we need more social connection. We're no longer working. Our children are grown and off raising their families. We need a community that supports us both spiritually, emotionally, and physically. So as older folks need community more than ever to rally our spirits and validate our lifetime of stories. Begin to think outside the box about church. Opportunities for social interaction and support can be discovered wherever you attend. So find a community where you can be active and supported in sharing ideas by participating in the milieu of creative activity. Have a church that has a lot of activities going on, that one will fit your needs and your desires. A center where you will have the opportunity to grow and flourish once again as in your youth. Where you find renewed energy, a new outlook, and a release from the boredom that comes with playing it safe by staying at home. You know, one of the things COVID has done is the technology that has come from that. So many churches have now been able to upgrade their technology and are live streaming their services. And many people are staying home and live streaming the Sunday service rather than going into the church and having that community of people. They're still saying separate and isolated. And it's great that this is available for those who are shut in or whose schedules are too busy to be able to reach them. However, they're missing out on the benefit of the community of a church. See church attendance in a new light. Churches are intergenerational. You've got the young and you've got the old, of like-minded people who come together to express themselves and their deepest longings. Express yourself freely, and your church experience will be healthy. So talking about what's going on in your life with the people from church helps you to have a healthier outlook. If someone is telling you how things are and what you must do or believe, find another church where you will be accepted and loved just as you are, with no exceptions or conditions. I like the fact that he brings up the fact that if your church isn't meeting your needs or people are telling you how you should be leaving, look elsewhere. Explore several in search of a loving, supportive, and healthy congregation. You need not go to the type of church you were raised in or have been told to attend. You will know you have found something that might work if you feel peace within as you participate in a service, orientation, or class. Church as a community works because we can feel safe expressing our deepest fears, our deepest desires, and our longing for acceptance and love. Where else could you be your true self if not among those who are walking a spiritual path with you? Within a healthy fellowship, there should be mentors, teachers, and seniors who sense what you are looking for. So explore a new church carefully, and if you get a sense there is a clique or power group that runs everything, keep looking. There are loving, open, and accepting church communities where the congregation has a sincere desire for new people and is willing to support you for a while. Be prepared to do your part by introducing yourself, letting people know you are new. Eventually, you will be supporting new people yourself. Lean into the love available and allow yourself to be vulnerable, something many of us are frightened of. It might be uncomfortable to open up about yourself, but vulnerability fosters growth and healing. Don't be afraid to open yourself to those you trust. Church has a poor connotation for some because in some churches there has been abuse, disregard, and authoritism among its leaders. A healthy spiritual community desires to grow and change. It's how they stay alive. Any organization unyielding to change will not survive for long. If you truly are courageous, step out into the light of pure consciousness. Know that any spiritual community is going to have some people you don't like, but that should not prevent you from being in the community and willing to promote change. So I want to open this up to the panel as to their thoughts on that and where they're at with, having the right church and the fit where it feels like it fits like a nice glove. So who would like to share next? Linda Baker?
Yes, thank you for bringing that subject up. While you were sitting there talking about it, I couldn't help but to think about a church in this state and its impact on the state, beyond the community. I'm sure they started out small, and it all began in the core of their church, helping their members. And then they grew out into the community. What I'm saying is, I can't say enough nice things about the Jewish Family Services of San Diego. And I invite you to go online, call up their website, and look at what they offer. And it's not just to the church members, it's to the community, it's to the people of the state. Even especially the old people. You know, they have their own Meals on Wheels programs. They have their own social gathering and exercise programs. They will even come to your house and help you with services to put in rails and all for your support if you need them in rooms or in your bathroom or something like that. Things to help you get by, help handicap conditions. And of course, they've got their transportation services that go all over town. And I could sit here for 2 hours and tell you about all the services they have to offer. It is just the most beautiful thing to see a church, a loving church body just blossom out into beyond the community and into the state. Thank you. And I'm so glad it just came to my mind that I could say that about them. I just can't say enough good things about them.
Thank you, Linda. And thank you for bringing that perspective that there is other communities where we come together from being a part of Unity, but there are other churches and religious groups that are out there that are doing so much for the community and have a community connection. And so thank you for sharing that and also making the listeners aware that they can reach out to them. So Reverend Linda, would you like to go next?
I would love to. This is a topic near and dear to my heart. You know, we left California and then we moved to Kentucky and then we moved to Tennessee, and it left me very little actual face-to-face community. So we went and found a church. Well, the nearest Unity church to us is about 45 minutes away. So we are not doing all the activities like you were talking about in the reading and getting involved in the things that they do. They don't have an awful lot that they do, but a lot of it is, you know, in the dark, and the lighting is bad on these roads. They're old country roads, and there's lots of reasons, but it's too far away and we are not connecting. So in looking for a community, I actually started going to meetings again, 12-step meetings. And I've been able to get involved with people right here in the area who, you know, have gone through some of the things I've gone through. And I'm building a community that way. And little by slowly, I'm also meeting people who are of the same Unity mindset that are going to that church that's 45 minutes away because it's the closest one. But I can tell you, even though I'm an introvert and socializing is not an automatic thing for me, I know that as I age and my life situations change, having a community, having that kind of support is a godsend. It is wonderful knowing the people around me and having people to talk to or go do new things because everything's so new for me. I've got girlfriends I can call up and say, hey, let's go do this or let's go do that. It makes all the difference in making this area feel more like a home because of the community I'm building. Thank you for this topic, and I hope everyone is inspired to build and treasure and nurture their community. Thank you.
I guess it's my turn. One of the things my mother said to me when I was growing up that I've always remembered was, Susan, if you're ever lonely or afraid, find a church. And I've always remembered that. I grew up in this area, but but I've lived all over the country, and I returned to this area 20 years ago, and I wanted to find a church. And I was very interested, Kathy, in some of the things, that you said, if this, find another church, if that, find another church, because I visited several churches. And one of them, I was surprised nobody came up and talked to me during their coffee hour after the church. And I thought that was weird. There was another one where I was interacting with a woman, and all she did was talk about her role in the church and how important she was. And so I did find my church, the First Presbyterian Church of El Cajon. One of the things that is an issue, I think, is the belief systems that underlie the particular denomination or approach or whatever. And I knew at a very young age that I would never find one spiritual path that would meet all my needs. I have missionaries in my family, I have atheists in my family, we're all over the place. And so for me, developing a spiritual community, for me, it's like a three-legged stool. I've got the First Presbyterian Church of El Cajon, and there are some things like about beliefs where I just keep my mouth shut. There's Unity, which was my mother's church, and I've been more involved in Unity in the past couple of years, and I really enjoy it. And one of the things I like so much about Unity is that the social events have a spiritual component. Like we were talking in an earlier discussion about the brown bag lunch, where we ended up talking about our fathers. We had, an interesting and important conversation. I don't get that at First Presbyterian Church. Social events are social events, and they're wonderful. They're wonderful. But Unity meets some of my needs. And then, so Unity is like the second prong on my stool. And the third prong is Contemplative Outreach of San Diego. And this is a group that believes in the value of contemplation, not just for one's own spiritual development, but for the world. And we engage in a practice called centering prayer, where twice a day for 20 minutes, you rest in God. You're very still and you're not praying actively, you're simply receiving. And that is really important to me. And I'm very fortunate in that the First Presbyterian Church supports this contemplative dimension of the Bible and gives us a house room for our Saturday morning group. So I found it interesting talking about church and finding a church because I had gone through that. And I think, and my message would be, don't expect any one church to be perfect for you, because I don't think that's going to happen. But thank you very much for this subject. You enabled me to pull together some of the spiritual threads of my life. And so I hope, well, the people who are listening to this probably already have a church, but maybe they know somebody who doesn't.
Well, thank you, Susan and Linda and Reverend Linda for your thoughts. As you talked, I thought about, the different, each of us sort of talked a little different about different communities, that there's many paths to God, a spiritual path to walk. And, like even Reverend Linda went back to the AA, which also has, it's not a church, but it has a connotation of, God, putting your life in God's hands, and it's community. It's a chance to support you on the path that you're on, which is whatever path we're on, is to feed see that where it's feeding that need and that contempt. Susan talking about, you've got 3 different religious paths that, feed your needs. And you're right, there's not maybe one perfect church, but there's the community that you feel that you've become a part of. I was recalling that years ago in the 90s, I lived in Hawaii and had attended the Unity Church there, which was in the Waikiki area, and it was sort of the downtown. It was a 45-minute drive for me to get there, and they started talking about the fact of wanting to annex out to that area of the island that I lived on. And they had an associate minister, and we talked about using my home as a meeting place to just start having time to come together and pray together, and to do a little mini service, even if it's midweek. And sometimes that you can start your own church, in that sense. It doesn't have to be religion. It's maybe take a books group and take or a Bible study group or something that, and be able to bring people that creates that community of spiritual like-mindedness that are on that spiritual path. So it doesn't take that you have to go sit in church for a length of time. I have to share that recently I was raised Catholic, and I went to a Catholic mass with my friend that I was supporting who had lost her husband recently. And some point in time during this mass, I felt like the walls of the church were closing in on me, because it felt so in the box. This is the mass, this is the ritual of the mass, and there wasn't any spiritual, to me, there wasn't any spiritual growth. It was just this was the mass. And I thought to myself, I almost was getting claustrophobic. And I thought, what is going on here? This was what I grew up with. This was what I had. And I recognized that as we left, here was my friend who had been a part of this church for many years, who lost her husband, and there was not one person who came up to her to be able to express their condolence, to be able to give her moral and emotional support. It was, they all come in, they do their mass, they get communion, and they go home. And it was very interesting to see that separation of community and attending church to fulfill a obligation. So who's ever listening or part of this, just know that, changing the mind of knowing that church is about building a community. It's about feeding that spiritual need within and the people that share it. And one of the things he talks about is, if you're looking for a church, you can go into the websites, and you can look at, Unity has a website if you want to find one close by or locally. I give Reverend Linda the challenge that maybe with her being in Tennessee, that she starts her own at-home church. So it sort of is like there's many souls in that community that would probably love to be fed with her wisdom and knowledge. And the same with any one of us, is that what we have. So, and sometimes there are, if you're the other New Thought churches that are out there, is the Centers for Spiritual Living, which used to be Science of Mind. They have their website, and then Universal Foundation for Better Living. Linda Baker talked about the Jewish family community, and Susan has, her 2 organization, the Presbyterian. There's many out there, and you will know when you walk in and meet the people if this is the community that is there for you to feel that you've come home. So I appreciate everyone's input. Anybody have anything else they want to add or say? If not, I will close this out. Reverend Beerman finished this article with an affirmation that I would like to read. And it's basically that we take in. So, today, I intentionally step out into the light of pure consciousness. I become vulnerable to change and reaching out for help. I am on my way to discovering a community, one that is healthy for me and others. So we affirm this for all who are listening today, for each other. Affirm that there is a community that fulfills your spiritual needs, that will help you grow and be there to support you through this. So with that, I would like to close this. I welcome your comments. If you liked what we talked about, please, give us a thumbs up, leave any comments, message. You can always reach out to the church if you'd like to have other topics. We're always grateful for the feedback. The following this is a message on how you can, reach the church. If you want to be a part of our panel, bring your thoughts, your guidance. We welcome you. We are always looking for other people, even to come in as a guest panelist that has a topic they want to share. So please be a part of this. Just know whatever path you choose to God is the right path for you. And with that, I want to close and thank everybody for being here today. And we send you with the blessings into the world. And bye, everyone.
Thank you for joining us, and let's stay connected and grow in spirit. We are on Facebook. Search for Unity Church of El Cajon and follow us and like our posts. You can reach us on YouTube at Unity Church of El Cajon. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, and leave comments which can help us improve. We are on the web at unityofelcajon.org. Email or call our church office to receive our weekly newsletters, which lists all of our activities and opportunities to learn and grow together.